What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull Up and Chat. My name is BJ Mathews, aka B Jizzle. Before we get started, follow us on the YouTube page, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. You know what I'm saying? Spotify, Iheartradio, Twitter, TikTok. You know what I'm saying? Like, share, subscribe. All of our YouTube videos. Hit that notification bell on the top of the screen. Buy a subscribe button. Let's get it popping. All right, look. Another video we gotta talk about, y'all. We gotta talk about the Clippers, man. We gotta talk about the mess that's been going on the last couple weeks with the LA Clippers. They have not won a game in 2 weeks, but there's a deeper meaning to this. The last team they beat was the Detroit Pistons, who are terrible, 106 to 102. They give them credit. They did come back and prevail, being down, I think, somewhere about 14, 15 points. That's what the Clippers do. They come back from these crazy leads. They've been doing that all season. But like I mentioned earlier, it's not good to fall in that type of hole a lot because you're not going to always get out of it. And when you need it the most, that's probably when you're not going to be able to make it out. So you want to make sure you play consistent basketball throughout the whole game. I know that's easier said than done, but that's the main focus and the goal. But back to this discussion, the Clippers have not won a game since March 13th against the Detroit Pistons. What is going on? Let's get into it. So I got the losses right here. They lost the last 5 games. They lost 122 to 97 against Philadelphia, which was utter domination. You know what I'm saying about the Sixers. They just completely took the Clippers out the game from start to finish. I attended that game, and it was like the energy was so dry because there was none in there for the Clippers. uh, they lost 115 to 127 to Denver on Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? Like it was close at the beginning, but they just couldn't prevail at the end. They couldn't hold on to the lead at the end. They let Denver, the crowd and Jokic and them just hitting threes. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of took them out the game. Uh, Now they lost to Toronto, which was a hard fought game. You know what I'm saying? LA, 103 to 100. Really a last second call on Terrence Mann in the corner when he pushed Fred VanVleet, or I believe that was his name, either Fred VanVleet or Scotty Barnes, which kind of dictated the game for the Toronto Raptors in their favor. They changed that call, and the Clippers probably win that game, but they lost again. And then last Friday, oh my gosh, them boys lost 92 to 122 against the Utah Jazz in Utah. Now, you guys know how I feel about Utah. They're frauds. They're not a playoff team. The Clippers exposed them last year, even without their best player. So I don't believe in Utah, but you can't have a loss like that without Donovan Mitchell being present. So it was a bad look having that loss. And then they lost to Cleveland the game before that, 111 to 120, which was another winnable game. Now, why is it so concerning? Because you guys understand the Clippers are in the 8th spot right now in the Western Conference. If they won, I would say 4 of these 5 games, or really even 3 of these 5 games, they have a chance really to be in the 6th spot. You guys got to remember, Minnesota, they moved to the 6th spot for like I think a day or two over the Denver Nuggets when they were completely out of the playoff picture and in the 8th spot. Then they slowly started creeping up since the All-Star break, and then they made it to the 6th spot. So it was definitely feasible for the Clippers to do the same thing. But they just been losing, on this losing streak where it's kind of like they don't have a chance really to get to the 6th spot, and they just lost to Denver. So even if, let's say hypothetically Denver loses all the rest of their games and Clippers win, they would still have the tiebreaker. So they're in a bad spot right now getting that 6th seed. So they got to kind of like settle in. They're going to be the 8th seed, and I think that's what the players on the Clippers really are thinking in their heads and what they're voicing. Um, this is the seed that we're going to be at, and this is what we're going to have to deal with. It is what it is. So, what are my sentiments on that? Let's go. All right. So, Amir Coffey, Terrence Mann both had comments about this situation. I made a video about Terrence Mann saying we got guys coming back about a couple days ago, referring to the Clippers team. Go back and look on that video. Actually, I can pin it in the comments so y'all can check that out. Kind of get a better idea what I'm talking about. But Terrence Mann had comments about we got guys coming back after their loss to Denver. He said basically they got guys coming back. Guys are in good places. We're going to use this for motivation experience. That's what he used it for. Amir Coffey, you know what I'm saying, the other forward, pretty much is the same thing. We're using this for experience, and we're ramping up for the playoffs. We'll be ready to go. So those are the things you want to hear from your players, that you're going to be ready for the playoffs, because that's the ultimate test. That's the big stage. Clippers again have settled into the mindset they're going to be in the playoffs. They're going to be the AC. They got to still win a playing game. So whether that be against Minnesota or against the Lakers or against the Timberwolves, they still got to win a playing game, which I believe they will do 100%, 100 full, because they get 2 cracks at it. But you don't ever want to go into the playoffs with a losing streak like this. You don't want to do that because you want to build good momentum. Now, the Clippers, me personally, the way they are as a team, they don't really need to have a long winning streak to get going. They're one of those teams that do things like unexpectedly. They'll they'll have like a 2-3 game losing streak, and then they come back and have like a 3-4 game winning streak, and it's like play completely different. They just turn that switch on and off, which I don't particularly like. I like consistency more personally, but that's how they function, man. That's how they rock. So whatever works for them. Ty Lue had a comment on Friday, I believe, after the game. He said basically, um, and this is what I believe too. They just pretty much ran out of gas. They've been gassed, the last couple of weeks. One of the reporters has said basically they just felt like they just ran out of, energy. It's been a long season, not having your best players. PG playing 26 games, and then Kawhi Leonard not playing any games, and all these injuries in and out, and not having your best guys available. You've had to rely on guys as Amir Coffey, as a Terrence Mann, as a Brandon Boston, as a Reggie Jackson and Mook to take bigger roles and stuff like that to rely on your guys. So you missing your two best players. You missing and Norman Powell, you're missing about close to 85, 90 points. You know what I'm saying? So that's a lot of firepower that you don't have on the court available. So now they're burning so much energy that they're looking at the situation like, okay, well, um, we're in this position because we don't have our best players. Once we get our best players back, you guys watch what's going to happen with this Clipper team. They're going to turn a switch. They're going to be re-energized. They're going to be refocused. Because you can imagine, Paul George, like I said, he walked back into practice last week, and one of his teammates, Reggie Jackson, his best friend, said, "Look who's back!" So it's the energy picked up with the Clippers in that practice when they got Paul George back. Norman Powell is getting, good reporting right now that, he's out of the walkable, he's shooting shots, and he wants to come back. When he's going to come back exactly, I do not know. My opinion will definitely be probably the first week of April. That's my opinion, which is the end of next week. And then Kawhi Leonard, we're still waiting on those results. But Ty Lue, again, he basically said, like, yeah, we pretty much seem like we just kind of hit a wall. That's where we're at right now. So he was being honest for the first time about the situation going on with the Clippers as a team. Like, yeah, we hit a wall, man. Like, that's how it kind of feels at this point. So he's being very transparent. So the way I look at it now, that once they get they guys back, that's going to take all the burden off of Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris, Nicholas Batum, Terrence Mann, where they can just kind of settle into what they usually do, and that's, play their role night in, night out. Because it's one thing for you to ask Kawhi Leonard to score 30 points night in, night out. It's a whole different thing to ask a Reggie Jackson, who's a solid player. Don't get me wrong, I love Reggie Jackson. But, superstar like a Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, those are your main guys, those want to get the big deals. That's their responsibility. You're asking for Reggie to do that. I mean, that's a heavy burden to, carry, which he's done great. But I mean, it's a situation that they've hit a wall right now, and they need reinforcement. And they will get the reinforcement very soon. And yeah, it's gonna be a good year, a good playoff for the Clippers, man. That's my sentiments on that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got any questions, any concerns? Hit them in the comments section. You know what I'm saying? Continue to follow us on social media. You know what I'm saying? Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Iheartradio. We're on all platforms, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, share, subscribe, pull up, share, pull up. You know what I'm saying? Out of here like swimwear.